Hey guys, how y'all doing? So my name is Elijah Magruder, and today I will be talking about life below water. So the title of this presentation is Protecting Our Oceans, Pollutions, Overfishing, and Climate Change. Now, a little bit about me. My name is Elijah Magruder. I am I'm a dual sport student athlete. First, I did basketball for the first 2 years, and now I do track and field. I was a power forward for basketball, and now I do strictly high jump for the track and field team now. I am 22 years old. I am currently a senior studying political science. What I hope to do with that is, mm, honestly, I'm still working on trying to figure that out. There's a lot of pathways you can go with political science. Most people become a political scientist, which is just like a teacher. Some people even become lawyers. Others become politicians, obviously. Other people become like a part of the school board and stuff like that. So with me, right now, I'm currently working as an RBT, registered behavior technicians for kids with disabilities. But in the future, I do hope to get back into my field as far as internships or just volunteering, however I can get my foot in the door. And one step to getting here is completing this presentation before you. So I do hope you guys enjoy, and let's get to it. So as I said at the bottom, Elijah Magruder, University of St. Mary. And like I said, we'll be talking about life below water. Now, first things first, why oceans matter. First of all, the ocean covers about 70% of the Earth, as you can see. It produces oxygen and regulates climate. It supports millions through fishing, tourism, and transportation. Now, if you think about it, slide aside, the ocean's pretty important. Not just the fish, but without it, getting across the sea would be pretty difficult. Um, I know driving, I don't know how we get across that big old land without. I mean, use the airplane, of course, but we gotta use the airplanes. But for huge shipments, it seems like boats are the easiest way to do that. So oceans matter for that. Like I said, the wildlife down there provide a lot of food for us, provide a lot of medicine that we don't really talk about. So it's pretty darn important. Next, my thesis statement. So this isn't my paper for those who have read it. Uh, Basically, it states that human activities are harming marine ecosystems, which they are. And then the next one says stronger policies, sustainable fishing, and better conser- conservations, excuse me, are needed. Pollution. Now, we gotta break down the whole thing. So, pollution. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, twice the size of Texas, 8 million tons of plastic are dumped annually. That's terrible. And lastly, microplastics harm sea life and humans. So, to break it all down, to explain the slide, pollution is really harming our environment, not just on land, but the ocean especially. There's a thing called the giant patch, giant Pacific garbage patch. It's literally a huge, just land. There's a whole floating island of just straight trash. How did that come to form? I wish I could tell you. I didn't do enough research, and that's on me. But to think that there is a pile of trash floating in the oceans twice the size of Texas is insane. Like that's like somebody coming over to our state to dump in a whole bunch of trash right on top of us. Like we wouldn't like that. And not only am I just thinking about the animals, but I'm thinking about the environment. We need the ocean, and for us to repay Mother Earth like this is pretty darn selfish, and it's terrible of us. Overfishing is the next one. Um, Now, there was a collapse of cod fishery in Canada, where over one third of I lied. Next, one third of global fish stocks are overfished, and lastly, threaten to biodiversity and food security. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers, but since the beginning of time, we have been using fish as one of our sources of food. Now we have other things. We got chicken, we got cows, we got plants, a whole bunch of other animals, but fish is our main one. It's one of the easiest, one of the quickest, and there's so many species of fish that we use in our ingredients in our dishes that we can't really afford to keep overfishing like this. We need fish. And always gonna be cliche and say they need us, but no, they not. The only thing they need us for is to eliminate the ones that are bad for the environment, of course. But yeah, overfishing is a huge issue. And now where it all comes back to climate change. Now, 75% of our coral reefs are at risk. Oceans are warming by 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and ocean currents are ocean currents and weather patterns are disrupted. Now, I don't know if y'all noticed, but it's snowing in Texas. That's where I'm from. I'm from there, but I'm not. It's snowing in Texas. Something's going on. There's definitely been a shift in our environment to where things are moving very differently. Like the world's getting hotter. Like I'm talking about record breaking weather. Arizona got to 110 degrees at one point. Texas was at 100 degrees every day. We had something called basically there was a big bowl over Texas last summer where no rain was getting in or out. It was straight sun. Climate change, and that's on land. Just imagine the water. That's the reason the coral reefs are drying up. And I can't really recall why. I did explain to MI essay why the reefs are so important, but we do need the reefs. Now, some solutions and some challenges. Now, one of them is the UN Sustainable Development Goal 14. Now, successes, we have Norway and New Zealand sustainable fishing, and some challenges are enforcement and balancing economies. To break that down is enforcement with all these solutions. People are greedy, you know. If we tell people stop fishing or to stop making plastic, a lot of companies are not going to want to listen. They're too caught up in their money, their product. They're pushing their product, and then to get their money, they need to build their business, feed their families, and so stuff like that is going to be really, really hard for them. And balancing economies. Let's say we were to put rules on fishing in poor countries like I don't know India or any other country we could think of. Fishing is their main way to earn money to support them, their families, and their village, their country. And so telling them like they cannot stop fishing, cannot stop working, it's gonna eliminate jobs for people. And that's gonna be tough. So mixed with people being hard headed and mixed with people needing to fish to feed their families, that's some of our main challenges with like trying to make our situation better. That's kind of arguments. Enforcement on the high seas is difficult. Conservation must be considered local economies, like I just explained about the poor countries and the fishing. And the gap between awareness and action. Sum that up basically. There's so many campaigns about climate change and global warming and what we got to do, but there's not much action. That's now, with the conclusion, oceans are essential for life. Stronger policies and investments are needed, and time is critical to save marine ocean systems. That is something I cannot stress enough. Time is critical to save marine ecosystems. Now, I don't know how many of y'all are religious, but for those who are, bear with me. Jesus is coming. Now, I'm not going to dive into it, but things are only getting worse and worse and worse. You know, we need to make these policies now. We have so, like I said earlier, we have so many campaigns, so many policies being done. So there are countries actually making efforts, but this needs to be a collective whole effort to save the country that we're living on, or this world is going to perish. But and that goes back to my second point right here: stronger policies and investment is needed. We have so many things going on that are, no offense, are relevant. Like we're going over each other instead of trying to stay alive. I know it's human nature to survive, or even in some cases expand, or like be greedy and want more, which is what a lot of wars are about. But if we're about survival, we need to work together to actually survive and figure this out. And our call to action is we must have the tools and knowledge. Wait, I'm sorry. We have the tools and knowledge now, but we just must act on it to protect our future generation, which is facts. And I'm gonna be real. We have to figure this out now because I kind of blame our ancestors because they're dumping this problem on us. All the greed and everything they built, as far as the oil, all the gases, all the trash in our seas, they built that foundation, and selfishly as it is, they left it to us to figure that out. So, like I said, my call to action, we have the tools. We just gotta was act and protect our future generation, or we're just gonna be doing the same thing our ancestors did, dump the problem onto them. So, thank you guys for tuning in with me. I do hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit, and I hope you guys have a blessed summer, a blessed day, and God bless.